In the American criminal justice system, a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in the court of law.
Started focusing on the area right underneath the tree.
Okay, and did you go over to that area yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Were you able to identify yourself the area of interest they were looking at?
Yes.
Was there anything that stood out to you in that area?
Yes.
What was that?
There appeared to be, and this is just a guess, but about a 4x2 area of sod, what I can best describe as sod, in a shorter grass, in an area of longer weed growth. So that 4x2 area stuck out based on the greenery around it.
Okay. And then what did you observe the ERT team do there?
They began pulling up the sod and topsoil.
And then what did they do?
They continued to methodically remove dirt.
Judge, can I inquire in aid of objection?
You may.
Judge, can I inquire as to whether the officer was specifically present at the time that these actions were taking place, or did he return back to Mr. Daybell's vehicle?
You may ask the question. Detective Hermosillo, I'm going to direct you to answer that question.
Yes, I was there.
You were there at the pond and the tree?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Wood, you may proceed.
Thank you. I believe you just testified they started removing, I think you called it sod. Is that accurate?
Yes.
What did you observe them do what did you observe as they removed that sod?
They removed some topsoil that was right underneath the sod, which revealed 3 large white rocks, flat rocks.
Okay, and can you explain for the court how those rocks were oriented?
In a row, so there was a large rock, a large rock, and a large rock.
Okay. After you observed that, what did you observe next?
They removed the rocks, and underneath the white rocks was some thin wood paneling.
Okay. And what did you observe them do with that paneling?
They removed the paneling.
Okay. And then what did you observe?
Initially, as soon as they removed the paneling, I could smell the odor of a decomposing body.
Okay, Detective. I'm going to ask you some questions on that. Through your training and experience, have you had multiple occasions to be around deceased bodies?
Yes.
What are some circumstances in which you would, in the course of your duties, be around that?
In the last 19 years, I've been on plenty of suicides that had been left in apartments that were decomposing, various states. Also unattended deaths, various ages of people. So during the 19 years, I've been to a lot of those.
Okay. And is it your testimony that, to your perception, that state of a body, a deceased body in some sense of decomposition has a specific smell that you recognize?
Yes.
Okay. And it is your testimony that you recognize that smell at that location?
That's correct.
Okay. After you noticed that smell, what did you observe?
I observed the ERT team methodically move away more soil from that area.
All right. And then what happened?
They removed some soil, and there was once they removed some soil, there was a black, what I can best describe as a black plastic bag with a round object protruding through the dirt.
Okay. What did you observe the ER team do after you saw that?
They dug a little bit more around the round object, which appeared to me to be the crown of a head, protruding through the dirt. They used a small, sharp instrument to cut through the black plastic.
Okay. And what did you observe when they did that?
There was a white plastic underneath the black plastic, and they also used the white instrument to cut through the white plastic.
Okay. And what did you observe when they did that?
I observed what looked to be brown human hair.
Okay. Once that was discovered, what did you observe the ER team to? Excuse me. What did you observe the ERT team do?
They continued to just work around the head that was exposed. They took pictures. They did whatever their team leader instructed them to do.
Okay. Was an item of interest eventually pulled out of that area?
Yes.
And can you describe what that item of interest looked like?
It was what appeared to be a small body tightly wrapped in black plastic, covered in duct tape.
Okay. After that item was recovered, what did you observe happen with that item?
That item was then placed into the back of the coroner's vehicle.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity to observe what the coroner did with it?
Yes.
About what time of day was this?
Roughly 11
Okay.
in the morning.
What did you observe the coroner do with that item of interest?
The coroner brought the bag up to Madison Memorial, where it was placed in the morgue.
Okay. And were you in the vehicle with the county coroner, or did you observe that from another vehicle?
I was not in the vehicle. I was following directly behind the coroner's vehicle.
Did you ever lose sight of that vehicle?
No, I did not.
Okay. And did you watch that item of interest be placed in the hospital morgue?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Detective, while you were observing what happened at the ERT site, at that site we've just discussed north of the pond, did you ever leave that site for any purpose?
Yes, I did.
What did you do? Well, about what time did you leave that site?
Before noon.
Okay. And what did you do?
I assisted Sergeant Eric Wheeler in placing Mr. Daybell into custody off of a traffic stop.
Okay. Detective, after you observed the county coroner take that item of interest up to Madison Memorial Hospital, did you return to the Daybell property?
Yes, I did.
What did you do there?
I assisted the other ERT members in excavating different areas on Mr. Daybell's property.
Okay. Can you show the court the areas you assisted in excavation?
And Judge, so that we have a clear record, could he also vocalize that as well, please?
That's fine. Mr. Hermosillo, I'm going to direct you to shine your laser pointer at that and also verbalize what you're describing, what you're pointing at.
I'm pointing to a fire pit on Mr. Daybell's property, just northwest of the fire pit. There is what we've referred to the pet cemetery, and it's just north of the pet cemetery where I helped excavate.
Okay. And that area that you just referred to as a pet cemetery, why did you call it a pet cemetery?
There was pets buried there.
Okay. Were you able to identify You said they're pets. So when you say pets, are you referring to non-human animals?
That's correct.
Okay.
And Judge, could I inquire again in terms of aid of objection?
You may.
Thank you. Officer, you had mentioned that there were pets buried there. Can you give me the source of the information that advised you that there were pets buried there?
I assisted in digging them up. There was a dog and a cat.
Did you dig up the entire pet cemetery?
I personally did not dig up the entire
Did
pit.
anybody dig up the entire pet cemetery?
I can't answer that.
Were you there?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. This line of questioning doesn't go towards any objection.
Well, he acknowledged that he had assisted in digging up a dog, at least a dog and a cat. He had mentioned pets. I think you ought to be able to inquire as to whether or not he went through the entire pet cemetery or not.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Detective Hermosillo, you can answer the question. Did you dig up the whole pet cemetery?
I personally did not. We were instructed to do different tasks. So when we started on one task, we would complete it and then we would move to something else. But there were several ERT members that were on scene that may have done that.
That may have done that, or did you observe anybody dig up the entire pet cemetery?
Again, Your Honor, this goes to a factual issue, not a legal objection.
Mr. Pryor, it appears that you're doing a cross-examination here. Which objection are you trying to lay foundation for?
Judge, I'll get the information through cross-examination. Let's move on.
Thank you. Why don't we take a brief recess? It is almost 10:30. We'll take a 15-minute recess, and then we'll go back on the record at a quarter to 11, so 10:45.
All right.